I have to get into aliens with you at least a little bit. I saw you on a few podcasts recently talking about that. So, have you started to watch that new documentary with what's his name? I think I have it pulled up because I
Graham
always
Hancock,
know Steve.
Stephen Greer.
Yes. So he has a new documentary on Amazon, and I watched his first one, and I was like on board because also I want to believe in them. So I was on board, and he's showing all these pictures. And I'm like, these must be real. And he has this meditation that's supposed to bring them. I don't know if you've seen that or if you're familiar with the meditation. If you've met anyone that's had any experience, whether it's like through psychedelics or what have you.
I have not had a direct experience, at least not that I'm aware of. And I make that caveat because in many of the cases, there seems to be a memory wipe or missing time where people can't account for what happened and then they go under hypnosis or then the memories are unlocked somehow. So I say that because maybe many of us, even some of your listeners, might have had an experience and we just don't have access to that memory for whatever reason. So I've looked at a lot of these researchers. I mean, my conclusion is that we're not alone, but the nature of that is still pretty unclear to me. So like in my book, it's called An End to Upside Down Contact, where I go through just so like all the different things that people have been talking about. I try to provide a survey of it and let the reader decide. But there are phenomena of consciousness. So not even talking about a UFO craft. Let's say a near-death experience or a psychedelic account like DMT, or people who can channel where their whole body changes and they start speaking in a different language, not a different language, but a different tone. They use a different cadence where they claim they're being overtaken effectively by a being and they're speaking as that being. These are phenomena of consciousness where it might be an ethereal or etheric being, so it's not a physical creature, or it might be interdimensional, where maybe they can appear to be physical and maybe they're not physical. People are talking about that they're encountering beings. Near-death experiences, there's so many of these cases. They encounter deceased relatives. They encounter religious or mystical figures. They encounter a being of light. So some intelligence that's not a human. On DMT, Dr. Rick Strassman from the University of New Mexico, he wrote a book called DMT, The Spirit Molecule, and there's a documentary. He found, to his surprise, that when he was giving people DMT intravenously, dimethyltryptamine, they were encountering entities. And he actually stopped the study because he's like, ethically, what's going on here? Can I expose people to this stuff? And it was not always positive where they were having these types of encounters. And then there are UFO examples where people throughout history, I mean, you can go way back to even the Bible and the book, the Ezekiel's vision. I mean, you could read that and construe it as a fiery chariot with creatures. Was that literal? Was he talking about encountering beings? Maybe it was in an altered state of consciousness or not, but maybe he was encountering something. I mean, there's case after case of this, in addition to the UFO phenomena, which has been reported and documented really well. For example, by Richard Dolan. He wrote a book called UFOs in the National Security State. They're actually 2 volumes, and they're like thick history books of all the UFO encounters. I mean, some of them are documented in the 1800s, where we didn't have the flying technology that we're supposed to have at the time. So to me, all of this raises questions about the narrative that like human beings are the peak of evolution and we're the most intelligent out there. To me, there's a lot of evidence to challenge that idea.
I want them to be real so bad. Yeah, I've met a couple people, and it's in Sedona, so you don't really know what you're getting. Some of it could just be a lot of people with very vivid imaginations. But I've met people that have said that they've had contact or some kind of interactions. I'm like, why not me? I'm doing all the things. I'm watching all the shows. I'm waiting outside. Maybe one day.